It all started with Nick Franco's school assignment in the year 2004. Nick was in grade 9 at the time when his class were asked to write a 1 to 2 page essay about Sarah Bartmann. Like all children the world over who find themselves in an untenable situation, especially sons, Nick appealed to his mother for assistance.
When he brought it to me, he didn't know anything about Sarah Bartmann. No, none of the children in his school knew about her. And I said, okay, I'll help you. And then when I did my research, I couldn't put it down. I said, no, this lady's story has to be told. It has to be brought out, and not just in half a page in a textbook. It has to be really brought out into the open, and everybody has to know about her story. So that's how I came to write Exile Child.
So the literary wheels of change were set in motion. Suzanne says research took longer than writing the actual book because she had to get every issue and every date right, since she was writing about a real person who had become important within South Africa.
So you have to be really meticulous on your research. And I went to the UK, and I actually went to the same in Piccadilly Circus. I went to the same theatre where she was put on stage. Yeah. And I actually went in there, and the feeling that I got, I could just, the horror, being put on stage and people shouting at you and laughing at your body and everything. And then I went to France, in Paris, because slavery was abolished in the UK. And the British people weren't happy with what was happening, so they abolished it. So her owner took her to Paris, and then he decided to put her on show in Paris. So I went there as well, and that's where she died. She died in Paris.
Suzanne's account of Sarah Bartmann's life begins with girl child preparing for a matrimonial ceremony. Suzanne calls her girl child because no one knows what her indigenous name was, as the community she lived with were wiped out during a Dutch commando raid. She and her young brother, whom Suzanne refers to as Klip, were the only known survivors. At the time of girl child's birth, her people, the Khoi, were being harassed by the Dutch, who claimed that the Bushmen, as they called them, were stealing their cattle. So thousands upon thousands of the San population were exterminated during commando raids. Apparently there was the feeling that you could do whatever you liked with the Khoisan, since they were considered subhuman. Girl child and her brother Kib were abducted after one of these raids and were later separated. Kib was sold to a man whose wife had told him that it was easier to break in Khoi children to a life of servitude. As Kib was hauled away kicking and wailing, girl child's heart shattered as she watched helplessly, the only link to her roots brutally torn away from her.